So one of the biggest mods that I've done for the year one of the Z was the headlights. And you know what happens when you buy cheap stuff? You'll just have a bad time. It's funny because I only used it once, you know, the first year that it was installed. And then I figured that there was condensation happening inside the headlights. After fixing the condensation issue of the headlights, I knew for a fact that I'm gonna be doing a V2 design of these bad boys. Fast forward to 2023, we're gonna be using quality products and somewhat proper procedures, okay? We're gonna do a rundown of the things that I'm gonna be using for this V2 headlights. Let's go. For the Demon Eyes, we have the Profile Performance. Alongside the LED, it comes with its own driver. This time we'll be using Morimoto's Retro Rubber Resealing Glue, which is activated when heated. It comes in a roll of approximately 4 meters, which will be enough to reseal both headlights. We'll be using the XBT Bluetooth controller from Morimoto to control the lights. It can control up to 3 sets of lights, and I'm only using 2 for this installation. Yes, we will be etching our own projector with Armor Etch. And the pièce de résistance, the Hex Halo's V2 86mm from Circuit Demon. It's paired with its own driver, with an orange wire for an optional turn signal, and black for mandatory ground. Oh yes, we also have accessory power cables for XBT controller. Here's a refresher on how to remove your headlights. Obviously, remove your bumper. Then there will be 4 10mm bolts holding the headlight from the chassis and a plastic clip holding it from the rubber cover. And don't forget to remove the harness. Remove all the necessary screws holding the lens and assembly together. I decided not to ruin my perfectly good oven because we love to cook and bake in it, so I repurposed this huge box from Z1 Motorsports and a heat gun as my makeshift oven. This might take a little longer than an oven, but at least you won't ruin the plastic housing if you directly use a heat gun. With no additional tools, use light brute force to pull them apart. Yes, there are more screws holding the housing and the lens. Look what happens when you use cheap shit. It crumbles. The worst part is that I used JB Weld behind this. Upon sanding the housing, the Bondo I used to cover the little divots just popped off, so I just gave up and removed everything. Prep, then painting it with this trim black semi-gloss spray paint. Instead of drilling a huge hole in your headlight, we're going to ensure that we'll have minimal margin for error that would lead to condensation. Using a toothpick, gently press down each terminal to depin the wires from the connector and slide off the rubber grommet. Now I'm just creating smaller holes that will help us to mount the angel eyes later. I made a mistake back then painting the top 50% of the turn signal lens because I thought it was cool, so now I'm retrofitting a motorcycle lens to have full light output. I'm also repurposing the previous halo lens to cover my messy JB Weld mistake by cutting a piece of it enough to cover the rest of the projector shroud that wouldn't have the angel eyes. Now off to paint the rest with gloss black. I'm adding a prismatic acrylic light diffuser for the turn signal LEDs. There are 2 screws holding the projector lens and bracket. Make sure you do not hold the lens with bare hands because your oils will ruin it. With the help of the retrofit source, I'm vinyl cutting a honeycomb design with my Cameo 4. You can also do this by yourself with a design done on masking tape, or you can reach out to your local vinyl cutter. Now etching the projector. It's easier than you think. Just apply generously and evenly to the glass, wait for 3 minutes, and wash off with warm water and then pat to dry. Unfortunately, I did not consider the size of the demon eye, and I'm not interested in drilling the projector housing or cutting the LED board, so I'll be mounting it a little higher than I would. Since I've had a good outcome with 3M tape, I'll be using a ton of that to hold it in place. I'm feeding the wires to the back of the housing where there's a big enough hole for it. And I'll be using reflective foil tape to hold everything in place. It'll help with the light output and ensure the wires are out of the way. Since I'm a dumbass that painted the reflective part of the turn signal, I'm adding the same foil tape to get back the reflective function of it. Circuit Demon recommends using 3M tape and a fishing line or nylon string to mount their halos because JB Weld will get brittle and fail over time. I'm only applying 3M tape on each corner of the contact points. Remember the holes that I pre-drilled? We're going to run through a fine fishing line to hold it in place, in case the 3M fails. Circuit Demon also uses a silicone wire sleeve to secure the fishing line when tying it down. You can get these wire sleeves from, you guessed it, electrical wires. After that, I'm applying a dab of JB Welds to the knots of the fishing lines. Now that the demon and angel eyes are installed, I've attempted to drill a hole big enough for the wires and grommets to pass through. It's recommended to drill the holes in the bottom of the assembly so that in case of condensation, it will drain downwards. Did you know that you can replace the halogen bulb from the side marker with LED? It's basically the same bulb size as your cabin map and hatch lights, and as well as your license plate light. And the best way to remove paint from plastic parts is not with paint thinners, because that'll melt your paint. But use 70% to 90% isopropyl, that alcohol. Remove the old, gunky, dirty sealant by heating it up and scooping it with a tool that you don't care as much.
and I'm cutting the butyl glue to size for later. Reinstall everything from the lens and make sure you pass through the wires properly outside of the headlight assembly. Reinstall the grommets, and we have to repin the connectors by using a box cutter to pull up the pins and then reinstall the plastic connector in the right orientation. Now the part that people hate, wiring. The best part of this is that it's made with quality parts and it should be just plug and play. So here's a diagram for the wiring. The blue wire from the demon eyes and the orange wires from the angel eyes are optional, but the black ground wire is necessary to power up the angel eyes. My only issue with this is that there's too much material to hide. I will have to revisit this and make a proper panel to make it neat. To make sure that I'm not mixing plugs when I'm going to service them, I've appropriately labeled the connectors AE for angel eyes and DE for demon eyes. Temporarily, I've wired the XBT controller straight to the battery with a fuse switch from Conju Spec D. This is a switch that came from another project, so make sure to hit subscribe to see what's next for the Z. I routed the wires from the controller under the strut bar into a small hole in the battery compartment. To connect to the XBT controller, download the Morimoto XBT app, pair it, and you're done.
I know I should have done this the right way the first time, but if you don't make mistakes, you never learn. So if this video helped you in any way possible, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy, folks.